Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, and a puzzle by Armin Kalik today, who has sent us a couple lately, and he's back with an interesting looking, fairly straightforward rule set. We'll have a look at that in a moment. Intriguing idea. I've only actually just noticed the mirror symmetry of this puzzle, and we'll get to that in a moment. Now, things going on around the channel. You can catch up with the VOD, the video on demand of our stream last night. We went to BBS Last Call, I think it's called, and we played a number of dungeons and what was it? Dungeons and Diagonals or something. It wasn't that, but a number of 8x8 puzzle games which were very amusing, particularly where we got fooled by a disguised treasure chest. That was amusing, but do check that out. It was a very interesting game. Well, I think we'll definitely be back there. We've also, Simon's been playing Islands of Insight, and that's on Patreon. The last couple of efforts are that, and you can check out his efforts in that game as well. Now, our books are also available on a website that we're linking in the description field. If you didn't get those with the original Kickstarter, or you want even another copy, then they are available, and thanks to Bean Games for making that possible. And of course, on Patreon, as well as Simon's Islands of Insight videos, there are all sorts of other content, and we are building up to a release on the 1st of April, which will be not a fool, but a genuine Sudoku hunt called Dangerous to Know. I think that's the working title anyway. We'll see what it's called by the time we get to the 1st. Do check us out on Patreon. There's always some good content there. And all of our apps, which feature Thermo Sudoku and Domino Sudoku as well. They're all on the links under the video. Go to the apps link and find them all. Sven's SUDOKU PAD and our merchandise, all there as well. But the first link is to Parity Pairs by Armin Kalik, for which these are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply, and that means we'll be putting 1 to 9 in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Cells with a blue circle contain the number of neighbouring odd digits, orthogonally and diagonally, excluding the cell itself. So it's like a minesweeper count of those cells. For this purple cell, that is counting the number of odd digits in those cells. That's how it works. We've got a helicopter outside. Don't know what's going on. Maverick's changed vehicle, perhaps. And then along thermometers, digits must increase from the round bulb to each end. So we get bigger as we go to any of these ends, or that way, for instance. Cells separated by a white dot must contain consecutive digits, and those are the rules. We don't, apparently, with that rule set, and these fairly small thermos, we don't need any given digits. So I'm guessing the blue digits do a lot of hard work for us, the blue circles. Give it a try. No idea how it's going to play out. You can check the length of the video to get an idea how it was for me. I'm going to start now. Let's get cracking. So. How do we start this? What I was going to hope is that we were having a blue circle in the middle cell of a box. Even then I wouldn't know what it was, but I would at least be able to restrict it to 4 or 5. But as you can see from the highlighted cells, there are no blue circles in them. Armin is not being that generous to us. Thermo, I mean, that is no more than 4. That's not really going to help. There's one, right. There's one blue circle, breaking symmetry, in fact, on the perimeter. The perimeter is helpful, the perimeter is helpful because the number of surrounding cells are limited. There are only 5 cells surrounding. And this one also happens to be on the end of a thermo. So 3 is the minimum given the thermo, and 5 is the maximum given the number of surrounding cells in the blue circle and the rules. And it can't be a 5 because they would all have to be odd digits, and with the 5 that would be 6 odd digits in a box, and we know there are only 5 available odd digits in Sudoku. So that's 3 or 4. So going back up the thermo, oh, we get to 1 or 2 in another blue circle. And that's really quite interesting. That is saying that this whole group of cells only contains 1 or 2 odd digits. This might be the most pressured blue circle in the grid. How? One of these must be odd because there are only 4 even numbers in Sudoku. What's going on here? There's more to this. I should be able to make another big deduction here. I feel I ought to be able to. Okay, I can see that this cell, well, there are only 4 digits below 5. So by the time we get here, we've got at least a 5. That's probably not going to help at all. There's no blue digits on those. Okay, let's think about this again. If that's a 2, right. If that's a 1, then at least one of these is odd. That's totally obvious. I've said already, at least one of those is odd. Because you could have 4 evens, but you must have 1 odd. So if that's a 1, the odd digit is there somewhere, along with 4 evens, and those are all even too. And that's interesting. It's certainly plausible, but it's a stretch. If that's 2, this is immediately 3. Oh, that's interesting. So does that mean if I took that out of orange, there's always 1 odd here? No, not quite. Because if that was a 1 and that was a 3, then there'd be no odds there. Oh, that's weird. If that was a 2, then the 2 odds are on this group of cells. Because then one of the even digits is gone by virtue of being a 2 and can't be sitting in those cells. There's a maximum of 3 evens in those cells. If that's a 2, there are 2 odds in that group. If that's a 1, there is 1 odd in that group. There are no odds in this group. These are all even. I shouldn't have used orange to highlight that group. I should just be trying to get to even and odd in the puzzle. These are all even now. That's quite interesting. Right. What is that doing for me? Not only that, but I don't know what that is, but I do know that there's only however many odd digits it's naming appear in those cells. If it's a 1, one of these is odd, and the others are 2, 4, 6, 8. If this is even, it's a 2, and 4, 6, 8 have to be in this group of cells. So 4, 6, 8 are always in this group of cells. And 2 is also in one of these cells, be it on the line or not. Is that right? If that went 1, 3, 4, yes, these would be 2, 4, 6, 8. So 2 is somewhere in this whole group. And basically these 3 are all odd now by count, and now that has to be a 3. Oh, that feels like a deduction that taught itself something. This is the AI of Sudoku. Or maybe I'm just a slow robot. So if that's a 3, then we can just use thermos to get the rest of these, and we can colour them according to their parity. And this is at least a 4 now. We'll get to that later. This is not a 2. Now, I'm going to remove the pencil mark. So, I mean, the count in this box is telling me that 4, 6, and 8 are even cells that have to be here somewhere. Now, what's this? This is counting the odds. I just suddenly had to check the rules again. Was that right? Okay, well, the maximum number of odds, given that there's only 1 more odd to go in this box apart from the 4 odd cells we've got, the maximum odds there are 2, and the maximum there are 3. So 5 is the biggest number this could be, and that makes it a 4 out of the options available. This now can't be 4, and this thermo is gradually increasing in size. Now, this is seeing 4 odd digits. That's not a great number for me, because I don't know if it's 1 there or 2 there. Therefore, I don't know if it's 2 here or 3 here. Odds. Yeah, okay. But there's only one more even to go in this whole box. And that might inform these cells. So this is at least a 5 now. It can't be a 9 because it's only got 8 cells around it. And these 6 cells, I know, include 1 even and 5 odds. If this was a 5, it would see four odds here. We're not counting itself. It would see 4 odds here and 1 down there. If this was a 6, those would all be odd, so again 1 here. If this is a 7, there's 4 odds here and 3 down here now. If this is 8, then it's seeing 5 odds here and 3 here. So these 3 cells are either 1 odd or 3 odds. This puzzle is producing some very strange deductions for me. I'm just going to mark this group of cells in yellow because it's a very odd... Oh, hang on, there's a thingy. There's a white dot. It can't be 3 odds because there must be an even number on the white dot. So this group of cells is 1 odd. And that means this is either 5 or 6 here. This can't be a 6 on the thermo, or that would be a 5 and that cell would be broken. So this can't be a 7 now. I mean, it doesn't really help. This digit is at least 4 now. And how many odds is this? So the trouble is, then you get into the realms of, we don't exactly know how many there are there. We don't know anything about these. We know there's 1 odd here and 2 evens. It's tricky. I don't know quite what's going on there anymore. So I should look at this one. This one we know a bit about. We've got 3 odds already here. So its maximum is 7 odds. Its minimum is 3. It can't be a 3 by Sudoku. So that is 4, 5, 6, or 7. If it was a 5 or a 7, it would be the last odd in it. It can't be a 7. If it was a 7, those would be the 3 odds, the only 3 odds it could see in the box. Plus 3 more there is only 6. So that is 4, 5, or 6. This I can run up to 8. There is no such thing as a 9 on a blue circle. It can't be 8. Oh yes, it could. They could all be odd. No, they couldn't, because only a maximum of 2 of those are odd. So we're on 5, 6, or 7 for that one. Yeah, I don't really know. Is there something about the difference? There is. If the difference between those was 1. No, there isn't. Sometimes in puzzles like this, which are counting the numbers of cells, you can measure that group against that group by the difference between those. Here that is messed up by the fact that this digit contributes to this one's count and vice versa. I'm sorry if that's not a clear explanation. It's probably the best I'm going to manage at this point. Okay, if this was a 7, that would have to be a 6, because this would run 7, 8, 9 on the thermo. If it was a 6, this could be a 7. So this is 7, 6, 5, or 4. It can't be an 8 because this would break. Okay. And one of those is odd. We said the count here was 1 odd. or 3 odd, and it turned out to be 1 odd, and the odd is taken up in one of those 2 cells. So that one is even. Not a blue digit though, but not counting towards a 7 total. How would the 7 total work? We would have to add 3, all of those would be odd to make 7 work, and that's not going to happen because the 7 itself would make this one even. So it's not a 7. That's now a 5-6 pair. And maybe there is some play between those 2 digits. No, there isn't. That might inform the difference between that and that in terms of the count of odd and even. But I think that's all it would do. Right, let's think about this. If this was a 6, the last even in the box, they would all be odd. And that would be a 5, so that would be the last odd here. No, the 5 itself would be the last odd. That would be the 6th odd. If that was a 5, 4 of these are odd, and then it's counting whatever's here, which is actually a 5 or a 7. I don't know. It seems like I've done the work there now, and I just am recapitulating. Oh, I want a bit more. I want a bit more progress, and it's hard with these blue circles to get it. They're not conducive to really falling out because I've got so many regions where I'm literally not knowing how many odds and evens there can be around blue circles. Maybe I should think about this 4 again. That's it. Those 2. At least 1 here and maybe 2. So at most 1 here. I think that may be how I got it. If that was an 8, this would be a 2-6 pair. All of these would be odd. That would be a 5 that had seen 4 odds. Yeah, I don't know. Thermos, are they doing anything? I don't see what they're doing much. I suppose if this wasn't 4 or 5, this would be a 6, 7, 8, 9 set. That would be 2 or 4, and this would be quite definitively low. I don't know. It's not buttering any parsnips. Where are we going to go next? I mean, you could just pick one of these, but they're just not helpful in my view. I am finding this, as you can tell, very tough to make progress in. I still think it's these ones in row 2. I just need to learn more about how they work. If that was 6 or 8, this would... No, it could be 8 still. I was going to say it would have to be odd. That's not true. This is tricky. Wow. I mean, how am I meant to do this? I'm meant to have understood something about blue circles and maybe these runs of 4 down here. I can tell you I have not understood what that is. You know, we've found out that you can have a 1 in a blue circle. That is a very low digit to put in one of them. But you can also, we haven't ruled out 7 from that one. And in theory, there are places where you could have an 8 in a blue circle. In fact, all these remaining circles are on the center of box borders, which is exactly where you could find that happening. Okay, this one is seeing at least 2 in that group of cells because we've had 3 evens in that column. Okay, and So it's seeing 2 or 3 odds on this side. On this side, how many of these are odd? Well, it's somewhere between 1 and 5, but have the odds changed? Have the possibilities changed because of that group? It means that at least 3 odds exist in this group, although one of them could be here. So at least 2 there and at least 2 here. So we're up to at least a 4 in the odd counter. But its maximum is 8. And that gives it a huge range. It could be 8 if they were all odd and they were all odd. And honestly, that's not wildly unlikely at this point. Oh my goodness, what am I meant to be doing now? 6 was the maximum here, by the way, because it has 3 digits bigger than 6, or than whatever it is on the 3 points of the thermo. Oh, I could have noticed that 1 has to be in one of those positions because it can never be on a non-bulb cell in a thermo. I mean, I could have done. I don't see how it would really help the puzzle, but worth pointing out now. That white dot was more helpful than I was expecting, so I'm wondering about this white dot. Could I rule even digits out of here for some reason? I don't think I can. It's just a speculative notion. I mean, maybe I still... Oh, that 3. Oh, I'd forgotten this. So that means those 2 are odd and one of these is odd. And that's the last odd in the box. So these are both even. That's been available for ages and ages. Now this 4 gets that 1 and has to pick up all of those 3. Oh, sorry. Useless doofus sometimes. Right, this is bigger than 2 and it's even, 4, 6 or 8. That can't be 8 when we're going from even to even. Ooh, I'd love it if... Now this is seeing 3 odds here already. We know it's seeing 1 odd here. That's 4. If it's a 6, those are both odd, as they would have to be. If it's a 5, one of those is odd. So that's just a function of what we've done. I don't get to find out whether these are both odd as a result of that cell. Maybe has this one changed? Well, we now know that this is seeing 2 odds and an even exactly here. So it's picking up 2 from that box. If that was a 6, it would be picking up 4 odds here. And that one is not odd. So all of these would be odd. If that's a 6, these are all odd and it makes that odd. If that's a 5, it's picking up 2 odds there. And then it's picking up 3 around here, but that goes even. So these are always fully odd. Is that right? I'm going to do that again. If that's a 6, it's getting 2 odds in this box. It's making that odd. That's its third, and then it needs all those 3 to be odd. If that's a 5, it's getting 2 odds in that box. That's gone even. It needs all these to be odd. So those are all odd. And that 7 or 8 is now a 7. And that makes this a 9. I've ruled out 8 because I know it's parity. That's an 8. I can colour that. They're not. This can't be 8 anymore. So there's now definitely a 5 on the white dot in one of the positions. And I'm going to look at this in a moment. But first of all, I can take 8 out of that cell. So this is now 1, 2, 3, or 5. Wow. Okay, now I'm going to look at this. Bearing in mind, we've got 2 evens, 1 there. So this is an odd-even pair that's to be resolved. Now, this is picking up an odd there and 1 odd exactly in those 2 cells. So that's 2 odds. Its maximum digit is 6 if those were all odd. And they would be all odd well, that would definitely be odd if that was an even 6. Oh, this is coloured orange. It's not a 6. Right, so let's do it again. 1 odd there, 1 there is 2, and 4 still to determine, but we are on an odd digit, so it's 3 or 5. And it can't be 5 because that's on the dot, so that is a 3. And it's got 1 there and 1 there, so it's only getting 1 more odd digit out of those 4. Interesting. What else does 3 do? It puts a 3 in one of those 2 positions. We know there's a 5 in one of those. This is 1 or 9 at the top in the odd cell. It's 1, 5 or 7. That's not really worth noting, but here we are anyway. So we've got 1 odd and 1 even. That hasn't changed the perspective of this cell. Okay, this is bigger than 3. We don't know its polarity. It's also not 7. So let's instantly write in 4, 5, 6, 8. And that's how many odd cells it's seeing. Well, it could be 3 here. That's extraordinary, but true, I think. If it was an 8, 3 there would be necessary and all of those 5. The trouble is, this could be between 1 and 3 odds in these 3 cells. I don't think I have much to determine it, so it doesn't really help with this number. That's a shame, because getting that number was quite exciting. Wow. What an almighty struggle. Now, this is picking up 3 odds here. So it's getting between 1, 2 and 3 odds in this group. Not a helpful number, really, is it? No, it isn't. Where next? I don't know. Is it something that's been staring me in the face like that last problem? Could be. Okay, let's consider that being a 6. That would make this an 8. This would have to be 4 or 2, and this would be very low, 1, 2 or 3. Oh, that's a thought. Either this is a 2, in which case that's a 1, and that's a 6, and that's an 8, and that's a 9. That pushes the row quite hard. If this is a 2, we get to fill in all of those cells, 2, 1, 6, 8, 9. We can put 3 there as well. That would have to be a 4, because it can't be 7 or 5. And this would be a 5, 7 pair. That would be immensely powerful if this was a 2. If it's not a 2, that's a 4, 5, 6 triple. And then these are a 1, 2, 9 triple. What does that do? It keeps 2 out of that. Well, yes, I'm postulating that this is 4 or 6, so it's not surprising it keeps 2 out of that cell. It would stop that. No, it wouldn't. I'm looking at that the wrong way around. I don't know. So it's one of those ways round. Either this is a 2, and that's a 1, and we get to fill in a lot of the top row, or this is a 4, 5, 6 triple. I don't know if that really actually does much. Let's just briefly go back. If that was a 2, that's a 1, that's a 9. That ended up being a 4 in that circumstance. So if that's a 2, this is a 5-6 pair. With a 4 here and a 9 here. Oh goodness, it's not much to case test. Oh, 9 there means this is a tiny bit limited. That's not very interesting. No, I feel I'm meant to be looking at these blues, and I just don't know enough about how to interpret blues yet. I'm really not learning very well. So if this was an 8, these would all be orange, including a 5 here. Seems very unlikely to be 8. These would all be even in that case, including that which would see 3 odds here. This is if this was 8. This one would see 3 odds there, and it would be an even digit itself, but it could be 4 or 6. Have I missed a blue dot somewhere, or just this one has actually got more around it than I realised before? No, it hasn't. It's got those 3 orange, and then these are just unknown. That digit is 4, 6, or 8. Wow, this is not easy at all as a puzzle, or indeed as a way of life. What do I do next, guys? It's very hard to find another step that means anything. So if this was 6, this would have to be a 5 by the rules, and that would be a 5 as well. This would be quite low, 4 or 2, and that would be quite low as well. This is if this was a 6, which I'm looking at because there'd only be one option for this cell, and it would be a 5. What does a 5 there do that I can't see? Doesn't do anything about this 3, which is getting 1, maybe 2. So that 3 is telling me that at least 2 of these are even. Ah, is this 4 telling me something about evens? It's telling me that at least one of these is even. Minimum of 4? No, it's not. It's not telling me that at all. It's actually telling me that at most 2 of these are even, which is a really rubbish stat. Especially trying to combine it with the stat over here, which, as I say, is telling me there's either 1 odd or none in this group. What does that mean? Doesn't mean much for this digit. I wonder if we're going to find that there are only a set of 4 digits that you can put in positions like that in a column. That is a complicated algorithm if it is the case. Okay, at least let's think about, if that's the same parity as that, 3 and 5 they would be, and they'd both be picking up the same number of digits in these cells. So the 5 would have to have 2 more odds here than the 3 had up here. Well, the 3 would therefore have to have only 1 odd there, which would be a 7, and the 5 would have 3 odds here. And we'd have finished all the odds in column 8 as a result, if that was the case. So if this was a 5, these would all be odd, these would all be even, I don't know, I feel like you could make some progress if you could just see what to do around that. I have a feeling it would probably rule out 5 from this cell. If this was a 6, I don't know, because I mean, these two could both be one way or both the other. 6 seems very plausible here. If this was a 4, we'd be getting at least 2 odds in this group. And the 1 here. So for that to be a 4, these would have to feature the other 3 evens, 2, 6 and 8. These would both have to be even as well. They could be though, couldn't they? There's no problem with that. Wow. I'm not getting through this puzzle in a hurry. Oh dear, dear, dear. What am I meant to do next? Half an hour in. This is shocking, isn't it? Okay, if those are the same parity, then this is 2 higher than this. If these two are the same parity, this is 2 higher than that. That's the only ways that can work. And they're seeing the same number of odd and evens here. This one is going to have to see 2 more odds in those cells than this one is seeing in those, and that can't happen. So these are not the same parity. Well, that is a slight deduction. Now, I wanted to say that the difference between them is going to be 1, but actually there is one possibility where it's 3. Is there any way to make that work? If this was a 4 and that was a 7, this 7 couldn't even see 7 odd cells around it, because one of them would be a 4, 6 would be the maximum. So there is only one difference between these. I feel like I ought to mark that somehow, and I don't really know how, but I'm going to put a little... I should put a circle here, because they're consecutive, shouldn't I? Let's stick a little blue circle there. Oh, I can't do a circle. I have to do an X. Those are consecutive. Now, maybe 7 is really impossible anyway, because that would be a 6. 6 would be the maximum, so that's not 7. Now, 6 here would require... That would be a 5, and we'd need to see 4 odds in this group. 5 here would make that a 4, and again we'd see 4 odds in this group. So this group of yellow has 4 odds in it, which is quite a lot of odds in a box. And that's independent of whether this is the last odd in the box or not. So there's at least 2 evens in this group. That's quite interesting. If only I could come to a similar conclusion for this and this group, we'd probably be away a bit. Oh, that okay. The focus is on me to try and do that. So if there was one difference there, then again, the trouble is I don't know what these are. Those 3 would have to yield 1 less odd than those 3. So there would be there would be 2 or 3 odds in this group. And that's if this was just a 4. Okay, I'm getting interested in the makeup of this row now, because this is requiring 4 odds in this group. So there's at least 2 in this row already. This is going to require, if it's a 4, it's got to have 1 more in this group of odds than this group, because of the difference between 3 and 4 and those being consistent. So we've already posited 2 odds there. There must be 1 on that. That would require at least 2 odds here to match and exceed the 1 odd up there. And I have a feeling this gets worse if we get bigger. If that's a 5, there's a difference of 2 between those and those. And that seems impossible. And if that's a 6, no, I've got to be more cautious than that. Right, I may have to go back to the case of if this is a 4. In fact, I may have been mismeasuring here because I'm not allowing for the fact that one of these is even and one is odd and they're counting each other. So I'm going to go back a step, sorry. But I think this is important. In fact, let's put in 7 and 6 back and just work on 7 again. That made that a 6. Oh, well, was this difference of 1 right? Was this difference of 1 right? No, it was right to work out that if they were the same parity, it didn't work. So they have to be different parity. And then I was looking at 7, 4, which is the only way the parity difference could be 3. Okay, I think I was doing the right thing. And you can't have a 7 there if that's a 4. Yes, 7 is just impossible. Okay, so that's all good. We can take out 7 from there and 6 from there. And now, if that's a 5, that's... Okay, I did this right. I'm sorry. If that's a 6, that's a 5, and 4 of these are odd. And if that's a 5, that's a 4, and 4 of these are odd. Okay, so it's definitely right that 4 of those yellow are odd. Now, I just have to be more careful here, because when I was comparing 3 and 4, I was assuming that these equalized, and therefore I could compare these. But 3 and 4 would be different parities themselves, so I want to be more careful. A 4 there would be seeing that odd 3. It would also be seeing however many of these 3 was seeing. So it would already be 1 more. And then we'd just have to equal the number of odds in those 2 regions. So this would have 1 or 2 odds. It can't have... okay, it's allowed those. Bother. If this was 5, these would be the same parity. They would be picking up the same number from these cells, and this 5 would need 2 more there than were occurring here. And that would require those to be 3 odds. These have to be at least 2. There has to be at least 1 there. That's too many. 5 doesn't work. And I think 6 will be too many, but only by 1 as well. Let me work that out. If this was a 6, it's 3 more than that. But it is seeing 1 more odd cell than that is, because it's seeing the 3 and the 3 is only seeing a 6 here. So it's trying to get 2 more after discounting those equals. So it would have to have 2 more than that. It would have to be 3 there, and that's impossible. So this is not 6 or 8. Wow, this is a 4. And the trouble with that is, I think there's still a degree of freedom for the number of odd cells, which is unbelievably annoying. That is obviously even itself. This is now seeing 1 odd there, 1 odd there, and then 1 between those 3. This 4 is seeing 1 there, 1 between those 3, and depending what that is, either 1 odd or 2 odd in these cells. And unfortunately, 1 odd in those cells is okay, in the sense that 1 odd in those cells, there must be 1 in one of these 2, and we have a minimum of 2 in those. And that's only 4 odds. So it doesn't quite allow me to make this even, which is what I was gunning for here. It hasn't happened, but at least I found out that this is a 4. It's not a negligible finding, or even though it's a long way short of what I was aiming at. Wow, okay, so come on, think about it again. And maybe case test this. So if that was 5, this would be even. The 3 would be seeing the 5 and the 7 and 1 here. The 4 would be seeing the 1 there and the 3, and it would need 2 odds here. And that's if this was a 5. If, on the other hand, this is 6 and that's 5, then the 3 is seeing 1 there, and 1 there. The 4 is seeing the 5 and 1 there. That's 2, and it needs 2 odds down here. Is that right? That would be good if that's right. It seems like whatever the 3 is definitely picking up 2 in those cells. So it can only get, there is exactly 1 odd in this group of 3 cells. There's 1 odd in that group. And the 4 is spotting that and the 3. That's 2 of them. So if that's odd and a 5, then it only needs 1 odd in this group. I mean, this is complex. So this cell, whatever it is making 4 of these odd. That's making at least 2 of these even. Is that interesting? It doesn't feel interesting. What about this cell? Interestingly, there is a 5 in one of those because they've got a difference of 1. I've worked that out. So this is 3, 4, 6 or 7. Let's start with those. It's picking up 2 or 3 odds here. Maximum of 1 in those cells. So it's up to 3 or 4 now. So it could stay at 3 and it could get to 7. No, it can't, because there's a white dot here. So it's 2 or 3, no, 1 or 2 odds in that group of cells. So 7 has gone. That's not possible. Oh, if I could rule out 6, I feel like I'd have done something. If that was 6, it could see 2 odds down here, and it would have to see 4 here, just as this 5 was also seeing 4 here. And that won't work, interestingly, I don't think, because you can't have 4 odds shared between that area and that area. And if that's a 5, they can't be... There aren't enough. I don't think there are enough. I'm trying this out. Sorry. If that's a 6 and that's a 5, this is seeing at least 4 odds in that area. This is trying to see at least 4 odds in that area. But it's a 5, so it's already used one of the odds. So they've both got to see all the other 4 odds in the box, and they can't do that both in that region and that region because there's only 3 shared cells. Okay, that's not 6. It is now 3 or 4, and it is seeing at least 2 odds here. If it's a 4, that's 5 and that's 6. Both of these are even. There's 4 odds here. Then it's seeing another odd here, and it's got to see an odd there, and that'll become even. If it's 3 is even harder, surely. It's got to see at least 2 odds here. 3 is about the same because it's not taking out an even digit from the box. It's seeing 3 would be seeing 2 or 3 evens there. 4 here. It might see none in this row. That's the trouble with that. But still, it's seeing at least 2 odds. I hope I didn't say evens. 3 is seeing at least 2 odds there. So it's going to see 1 on this white dot, and that will be even. So whether this is 3 or 4, this cell is even. I mean, it's not a helpful cell, but maybe it's going to inform this one a little. We know there are 4 odds there, so there's a maximum 1 in that group. This cell is seeing a maximum 1 there, 1 there, and up to 3 there. So its biggest digit possible is 5. It can't be a 5 because there's 5 on that group. So this is 2, 3, or 4. Now can I do a comparison between these again? I don't think I can. It's just too kludgy. Now for this to be a 2, it would be seeing how many odds here and how many here? Very few here. There's got to be at least 1 odd in that group because 1 even has gone in the box. Maybe it wouldn't see an odd here though. Okay, let's try and rule out 4 here. That might be doable. That might be doable. If this was a 4, that's a 5 and that's a 6. Does that 6 do something? Well, we know that those are both even and that there are 4 odds around here and 1 even. So that 4 would be seeing an even and an odd here. So it would see 1 odd there, at least 2 here. So it would be up to 3. It would definitely be seeing an odd here. That makes up the 4. So 4 actually looks very possible. Oh, sorry. I lost Cabrier will be very annoyed with me. Emails pinging, which I don't hear, funnily enough, but you might. If this was a 3, that would be 4, that would be 5, that would be 6. It would be really marking everything up. If that was a 3, this would be a 4. This would have to see fewer than this, but it would already be seeing 1 fewer by virtue of being odd next to even. So it would have to see the same. So assuming that those are the same that it sees, it would have to see exactly the same number there as there. And that would have to be a very low number, wouldn't it? If that's a 4, that becomes a 6. Then this group of cells has 5 odds in it, of which 4 are in the top U. Oh, this can't be a 2 in the column. Oh, wake up. I've got that. So it's a 3-4 pair, and that's a 5. Lots of this puzzle is easier than I'm making it, but hey, I just want to get there. Now, this is a 6. That's odd. The 6 itself is even, and there are 4 evens around here. So there's 1 odd, and this is now 2 evens and an odd. What does that... Now, the difficult way round, surely, is for that to be 3 and that to be 4. For this to be 3, it's seeing at least 2 odds there. It wouldn't be seeing... These would both be even if that's 3. So it sees 2 odds there and 1 here. And that's fine. Okay, this is Sudoku. This is a naked single. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9 in the box. 6, 4 in the column. That is an 8. I'm not expecting to suddenly do Sudoku in my Sudoku puzzle. This can't be a 6 anymore on the bulb. That's a 2. This has become odd, generically. That's even. All the evens are done in the top row. That's odd. This is even, because that's 1 of each. Wow, come on, keep going. That's not a 2. That is not 4 or 6 by Sudoku now. That's getting interesting. That's an interesting number. 8 is the crazy maximum and is not possible because that's even. So 8's gone. 7 would require all of these to be odd. Come on, be wrong, 7. How could they all be odd? that would make all of these odd in this box, and that's no good, because those 3 would be odd and those 2 would be even, and that needs a different count for there. It needs 4. So that's not 7. That is apparently a 5 now. And I can colour a 5. That's odd. Now, it's probably not going to help anything else because that is 2 or 3 odds. Then it needs 2 or 3 in that group of cells, and it's going to get 1 or 2 there. It's going to get somewhere between 0 and 2 from those 2, although I don't think it can have 2 odds there. But here's an interesting thing. 7, 9, 3 looking down at those cells, and 5 looking at them as well. And that means one of them is even, at least. And I'm only allowed a maximum of 1 even in this yellow area. So that's even and odd. These 2 are both odd now. That is 3, 7 or 9. That's 1, 7 or 9. And this 5 is seeing 2 odds there. A maximum of 1 here? Yes. So a maximum of 3 odds in this box. So a minimum of 2 odds in this one. That doesn't actually help. Now, I was planning to go up here. 8, 2, 4, 6. Everything else, that is 1 or 9. Actually, it can't be 5 because 5's on the yellow. So that's 1 or 9. This is 3 or 5. Now 1 or 9 is looking at that cell, making it a 7. This is 3 or 5 as well. Let's take out the corner mark. And this is marvellous because suddenly a 3-5 pair there makes this a 6. 6 is blue. 5 is there. 5 is orange. This is blue and not 5. We've got another 4-6 pair. That's become a 2. We've got a 4-6 pair in the row, and that becomes 8. Actually, that was probably easier than I was finding it. 5 there. 1 or 7 here. I can colour that too. Wow. I mean, this is attritional stuff suddenly. Okay, this 3 has seen 2 there. One of these is orange and the other is blue. The 4 then is seeing 1 there and 2 there and 2 oranges here. We've got 2 oranges here. We're going to get another one here. That's all 5 oranges. This is blue and that's blue. And this is orange and is the 1 that we were eliminating from that cell. Okay, so we've got 1, 7 or 9 down here. I know their colour. We've got 2 oranges and a blue here. That's probably not worth a lot to me at the moment. But this cell can't be 4, 5 or 6. So 1, 2, 3, 7 or 8. Now could it really be 1? What are we getting? And this has got a white dot. Is that, I'm just using that. Oh look, I've got the last or even in this column. They're all odd now. Interesting. That can't be a 1. They can't be a 1. That could be. This is more than 3, so it's 5, 7 or 9 because it's odd. This doesn't have a 5 or a 6 on. Is that interesting? I don't think it is actually. Oh, this sees 2, 4, 6 and 8, so that is odd. This one must be even by the count of the 3. There we go. And this is not 4 or 6, this is 2 or 8. Now, this 4 has seen those 2 and it's going to get 2 here. I keep rechecking that, it's still the same. This can't be 8 because it's got those 2 evens. It can't even be 7. This is a low digit, 1, 2 or 3. And that's looking at those 6 cells, that 1, 2 or 3. Finding odds amongst them, perhaps. Wow. Okay, at least we're doing something in the puzzle now. I feel like it's a big advance from just staring at it, hoping for something to break out. Now, I can surely compare those with those. Now, it's a different comparison depending which way around the 3, 4 goes. Oh, this can't be 4, 5, or 6 in the column. So it's 3 or 2 because of the white dot. That's quite interesting, isn't it? No, maybe not. 7, 3, 9, 1, 5, 6. These are from, these see all the odds. So they're definitely both even. One each of these in the box on the count. Now, I was going to try and do that comparison. I didn't get very far. If that's a 3 and odd, that's even. So that's a 4 and even. And it's picking up those 2 and a 3 there. Then that's a 4, picking up the 3 there, and 2 of those are odd on that basis. If, on the other hand, this is a 4, then those 3 are all odd, and that's the final digit it's picking up. And this is a 3, picking up 2, no, just 1 digit in the row above, and not that either. So again, 2 here. So 2 of these. So this is now a domino of 1 odd and 1 even. I'm going to mark them in green because I did that up there, and I can maybe remember what it is. That's 1 of each. I mean, it's an interesting comparison, but it doesn't get the job done. One of these is a 3, so that's not a 3. That's a totally uninteresting deduction. 1, 4, 6. That's been this 4, 5, 6 combos, or 4, 6 combos at least, have been quite powerful. I've just remembered to remove that X. Okay. Now, come on. There's an even digit on this white dot. It's not 6. If it was a 2, that would be a 1, 2, 3 triple. That doesn't seem to tuck my blankets in at all, I'm afraid. 5, 4, 6. 1 of 7 or 9 must be there. 6 and 5 are both in this group of cells. That's not going to help anything. But since I've noticed it, I'm probably going to need to focus on this again, or these. Now, if that was a 1, one of these would have to be odd. And they'd all have to be even, and that just feels implausible. And yet it's not impossible. I don't think it is impossible. So if that was a 1, you'd have an odd here and no odds here. If that was a 2, that's quite interesting. If that was a 2, that would use up 3 of the evens in the box, so you'd have at least 2 odds here, and again they'd all have to be even. The trouble is it could be a 3. I haven't ruled that out. And if it's a 3, then it can see any number of odds here from 1 to 3, and therefore any number here from 0 to 2. And that is a different kettle of fish, and that's very annoying. Okay, this cell. Okay, I'm going to write in 1, 2, 5, 6, 8, and then gradually eliminate them, because this group of cells has a minimum 3 odds and a maximum 4. So we can eliminate 1 and 2 straight away. It doesn't have a maximum of 5, so we can eliminate 8 as well. This is 5 or 6. So if it's got 3 odds there, this is 2 or 3 odds. And if it's got 4 odds here, if it's got 3 odds there, this is a 5 and this is exactly 2 odds. If it's got 4 odds here, that's a 6 and this is exactly 2 odds. So this group of cells is exactly 2 odds. And there's another odd there, and there's another odd there. That's 4 of the odds in the row. Oh, here's another consideration. If this was even, all of these are odd. If that was a 2. No, I don't know. I don't think that's helpful. I need to look at this Saturn that I've created here. 2 of these are odd, exactly. What's this number as well? The trouble is, I don't really know. If that's a 5, I can't remember what I worked out annoyingly now. One of these is one of these 2 is a 6 by Sudoku. Maybe there's some Sudoku to do that I'm just not even looking at anymore. That would be very annoying, I have to say. There can't be much. I haven't got enough done beyond the top 3 rows to actually do Sudoku on the bottom part of the grid. Have I? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Oh, there's a 1 in one of those cells, so that can't be 1. So we've placed 1 over here. And one of these is a 1 by the same token. But 2 of them are odd, so that's not exciting or informative news, really. No, I don't think that's getting a resolution on anything. Oh, goodness. One of these is a 3, so none of these are a 3. Oh, I mean, what are you doing to me? This is a cruel puzzle. Oh, I suppose this is odd and it can't be a 3, so it's 5, 7, or 9, which is a bit similar to that. This is 3, 5, 7, or 9. That's just not enough. It's not enough to go on. Like the police looking into the case of the stolen toilet, I have nothing to go on. 7, 3, 4 down here. Okay, I was going to consider this number, and wasn't I putting everything in and ruling them out? That worked to an extent in the cell above. So let's put in 1, 2, 5, 6, 8. Now, what's going on here? That 4 is saying that we know exactly the count here. 4 is saying that 2 of these are odd and 1 is even. So amongst these, 2 are odd and 1 is even again. So whatever this is counting 2 odds there. It's got to pick up at least 1 around here, so it's not 1 or 2. It's 5, 6, or 8, and it's picking up 2 odds there. Well, it's not 8 because it's not getting 3 odds there. So it's 5 or 6, and we've got a little pear. Hark where my little pear tree in the hedge leans to the field and scatters on the clover blossoms and dewdrops of the bent spray's edge. Sorry, got into, now that April's here, poetry, we're just ahead of time. Right, 5 or 6 there. Now that's adding 2 odds and an even here, 2 odds. So if it's a 5, then that's odd and 3 of these are odd. And that's 4 odds. And this set will have an odd and 2 evens. If it's a 6, 4 of these are odd and that one isn't. And again, we'll have an odd and 2 evens in this group. So this group of cells is an odd and 2 evens. It's not got a 1 in it because there's a 1 in one of those cells. It's an odd and 2 evens. The trouble is I marked that pink and I don't know what that meant. I can't even remember now. And this, well, okay, but I should remember. I should work it out. This is an odd and 2 evens. This one, if that was a 5, that was picking up 3 odds here. So that's 2 odds and an even. That's an odd and 2 evens. This is also 2 odds and an even. Same colour as that. 2 odds and an even twice gives us another pink. And I'll make this the other colour, which is blue, for 2 evens and an odd. Blue makes sense for that. Right. Come on. 2 odds and an even here, plus odd there is 3 odds. Odd there is 4 odds. And this green was 1 odd and 1 even. That's the 5th odd. So these are both even. If my maths on this count of cells is right, and if it's not, you probably don't get to see this video because my goodness, this is complicated stuff now. I don't know how I'd backtrack on that. That can't be 6, so that is an 8. This can't be 8. That's an 8. This can't be 8. This is 2 odds and an even, including a 2 or a 9. What a weird combo I'm expected to consider there. Now, is there an even or even an odd digit that can't go into one of those that I'm not understanding? I don't know. Oh, no, that can't be right. I was just wondering if that was a 4, then we get 3 and 2 there. This must be a 4, 5, 6 set then. Yeah, that doesn't do anything. I thought I'd reached a contradiction for a second, but it was just absolute nonsense. Oh my goodness, this is so complicated. And yet I have to soldier on, because we have to try and get to a finish somehow. I don't know how we're going to do it. I really don't. There's an 8 in one of those 2 cells by Sudoku. If that's an 8, we get an 8 there. Now, this 4, I can mark these up in my colours of 2 odd and an even, or, yeah, I'm just going to have to calculate again. That is also 2 odds and an even, so I can give that a pink line. And that's 2 odds and an even, that's 3 of each. So this is also 2 odds and an even. And the even is a 6. And it's in one of those 2 cells. So this one is odd. Needless to say, I have no bead on what cell, what digit it might be, except that it's not 5. One of those was a 6. Yes, that was the only tiny bit of Sudoku I had going anywhere. Oh, Lord. This is not a 1. 1 looks like it might well be in one of those. Now, if that was a 1, that's the odd cell it's seeing. Oh, that's interesting. Then these would both be even, and they would all be... They can't all be even now. We've got a 6 and an 8 there. So 1 has gone as a possibility, because we're going to get at least 1 odd here. And 2 has gone as a possibility. No, has it? No, it hasn't. 2 is alive, like Flash Gordon. If that's a 2, then it's picking up 1 odd there and none here. If that's a 3, it could be only picking up 1 here and 2 there. Okay, come on. At least we eliminated 1 from our inquiries in that area. Now, be it 2 or 3. We've put 8 there. Yeah, that was part of this thing, wasn't it? So if there are 2 evens here, they are 2 and 4. Now that would be very interesting. I'd be able to fill in all these cells on this thermo if these had to all be even. So I'd love to prove that this has 2 and 4 double even in it. And it would have to if that was a 2. So for this not to have double even in it, that's a 3. There's only 1 even here and 2 odds. And these are both even. That works. Ah, if that's a 2, oh, look at that. That's gorgeous. If that's a 2, that's an 8 by Sudoku, and that can't be even anymore. And then you've already got your 2 odds, and they'd all have to be even, and they can't be. So that's not a 2. That's a 3. 3 is an odd digit. Absolute knowledge bomb there. Right, and it's counting 1 there, and either 1... it's counting at least 1 odd digit here. I've got no better information than that to tell you. I've got a 3 in one of those 2 cells though, because it can't be there because there's definitely a 3 on the white dot. This was a hard-fought digit. Why is it telling me nothing? Oh, the 4 is now telling me that one of these is even and one is odd. They are a little pair, one of each. And so are these. Oh, I'll use a slightly different shade of green to try and remind me that they're a domino of differences. This needs an odd digit on it. If it's a 1, it's a 1-2 pair. 1, 2, 3. That becomes 4. That becomes 8 in the row. So if there's a 1 on this, that's an 8. If there's 7 or 9 on this, then 8 is the even digit and has to be there. And then 4 goes there again. This seems to be the only place for 4 in row 5. There's the conclusion that I could have come to some other way. That's huge. Well, it's not, but it sorts out this pair of blue dots, blue circles. 3 there, 4 there, 3 here. Let's add some colour. Now, this has counted its 3. That's even. That accords with the count in the row. Now, these 2 are seeing 1 even there, 2 evens there. They're a domino pair. 1 odd and 1 even. So are those, very obviously, because of the white dot. And by counting, I know that this is another domino pair, 1 odd and 1 even. Oh, goodness gracious. 8 on the dot would have to be here. 2 on the dot, could that be here? This is 7, 6. It can't be 4 anymore. 7, 6 or 5 in that cell. That is even and is 6 or 4. This is less than that. That can't be a 3 anymore. These are uninteresting lessons. That can't be a 3. Maybe I didn't tidy up the Sudoku from this 3, 4, 3 set. The 4 knocks out 4 from that cell. Feel like we're actually hesitantly approaching a finish here. 2 and 8 are there, so 6 is not the even number here. 4 is the even number in these 2 cells. That's not very thrilling, but still it exists as a fact. Where does 3 go in this box? I've only just got, well, no, I could have asked this question a while ago. It's clearly in one of those 2 cells along with 1. So they're both odd. And 3 is not there in the corner. Not in the spotlight today, 3. And now we've got 2 odds, 3 odds. We've got an odd here on this double even 1 odd line. That's 4 odds. And there must be 1 in this pair because of the count in this box and the fact that green is a domino. So that is even. And that, my friend, becomes a 6. That's 4. That's 2 by Sudoku. They're all even. I kind of wanted that desperately earlier. That's a 1. That's a 4. This is just Sudoku. So we colour the 1 and we colour the 4. This is bigger than 4 and it's odd now. It's 5, 7 or 9. 1, 2, 4, 6 fixes 7 and 1. 3, 5 and 8. That is a naked single 8. This is 7 or 9. I can colour both of those digits. I'm tempted to get rid of all the greens of both shades. I don't know how I've ended up with that odd green shade. Anyway, this is 3 or 5 and that digit is odd. This is even and is 2 by Sudoku. That makes that 8. Oh, uniqueness is going to disambiguate that one. Well, I'm not allowed to use that, so don't worry. This is 5, 7 or 9 by Sudoku. Well, it can't be 9 by Thermo, and that can't be 5. That's a 5, 7, 9 triple. This is now a 3. Sudoku to the rescue yet again. 7, 9, 5, 1, 3. Lots of even digits falling into place suddenly. 8, 9 there. This is 1 or 2. Now, this 3 has got 1 there, 1 there. It's still not resolved. Ah, well, let's do Sudoku instead. That's a 7, that's a 9. This is a 9. That's not a 9. Now, this column's getting interesting. There seems to be only one place for 8 in it. That's here. That puts 8 there as well. That fixes 2 and 8. That's got to be a 9 by being odd and seeing all the other odd digits. That's 5 or 6. 8, 3, 9, 5, 4, 6. That's a naked 1, and then there's a 2, 7 pair. The 1 I can colour. I never coloured this 8. I might as well do that. Now I've got a 1, 2, 9 triple in this column that's probably resolved by something by now, but I can't see it. I can do that digit. It's the last one in its row. This is a 1, 2 pair. They're done. 1 goes orange, 2 goes blue. That becomes a 9. That's sorted out the 2, 9, 1 triple, 9 in the corner. Oh, I really hope this is right, because it has worn me down hard. 6 and 5 down there. Oh, come on, come on. Blue there. 2 and 7 not resolved, although probably something about the dots or something is doing that as we speak. This is 5 or 6. That is another weird little, that's going to have to be a weird little deadly pattern. It's going to have to be resolved by the dots. I can do 3 and 4 down here, because I know I wasn't putting 3 in the corner. And now I've got a 2, 7 pair here. So it's going to have to be the dots, the blue circles resolving everything. So this one, oh, I can do these now as well. Let's do those first. 5 indeed does resolve the 6, 4 deadly pattern. Loads of deadly patterns to be fixed by the rules here. Now, this is picking up 1, 2, 3, 4. If that's a 5, it's going to pick up a 5 here, so that's fine. If it's a 6, it's going to pick up 2 5s. That seems to work fine. That's distressing. So it must be this dot and that cell, is it? So this is picking up 1 odd there and at least 1 there. Well, exactly 1 there. That's 2. It's getting those 3. That's 5. So if that's a 5, it needs both of those to be even. If it's a 6, that's a 5 and that's even. So this becomes a 2. Oh, I've just noticed what I didn't notice to fix the 5 and 6, which is a blue dot, a blue circle on a 3 there. That 3 is getting 1, 2. It needs this to be odd. And there we go. My goodness gracious me. What an extraordinary puzzle by Armin. Nearly an hour and a half. It's been a while since I did one like that. And it is correct. Thank goodness for that. What an incredible puzzle. Very hard work. If you made light of that, you see things in a very different way to me. And I mean, what I'm just going to do actually is get rid of my lines, because although they were very helpful, it's a technique I should have embraced slightly earlier in the puzzle in some ways. I didn't think they would be, but they were. Anyway, that is the solution. Thank you very much for playing along with me. And I don't know, I feel absolutely exhausted after that sort of puzzle. Really fascinating. A great workout, but it's such a surprise that someone can use such a simple rule set and make such a difficult puzzle out of it with almost perfect symmetry and no givens. Those 3 white dots did a lot of work. Very interesting. Anyway, thank you for following along with me. I will see you again tomorrow. If you will join me then, it would be a pleasure. Bye for now.